14 days after Carnival would have come and gone, that additional mixing that we did
You did.
has not changed our circumstance for the worse. So I am now being minded to tell the country, I see no reason now not to open the country up completely.
Yes, man.
Hey, is everybody ready to get on board? Say yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah. Well, come, all man wine up on a woman, all woman wine on a man, all man wine up on a woman, all woman wine up your man.
Sing.
Oh Lord, oh God, oh Lord, oh God, oh Lord, oh God, oh Lord. I say come, all man wine up on a woman, all woman wine on a man, all man wine up on a woman, all woman wine up your man.
Oh Lord. Oh God.
Oh Lord, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Hey, if a woman don't have a man, if a man don't have a woman, you could take a borrow. You go pay back tomorrow or not. All man wine up on a woman, all woman wine on a man. All man wine up on a woman, all woman wine up your bam. Oh Lord, oh God, oh Lord, oh God.
Here now, it's only while I'm playing this I remember it's Lenten. Happy, what was I supposed to say at the beginning? Welcome to episode 91 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Let me tell you a little something. I could see now why batsman is out on 87. You know, if you're a cricket man, right? You know, plenty batsmen is be haunted by the number 87. They say it's 13 runs short of 100. So it's easier to get to 87 runs than it is to get it next 13 to 100. So right now, I am that batsman. I'm sputtering to this 100 episode mark. Despite popular belief, this episode came out on a Tuesday morning. Don't let nothing tell you different. But on a serious note, they catch me. I have some work going on. And work. I can't say work getting in the way of the podcast. I can't say that. I can't record that. Work, they catch me. Let me just put it like that, right? So, over the next few weeks, you're going to get an episode every week, you know. But it's when. Right now, it's Russian roulette. So you have to check every morning and you'll see when it have an episode. At some point during the 7 days and every week, we go have an episode. But welcome to episode 92 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Typically published every Tuesday morning and available on all podcasting platforms. Anywhere you get your audio listening, audio books, or your podcast, you can check it out. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Forget to say that a few times. And of course, you'll see the video on YouTube. The video on YouTube coming out fast too. So, and we have some other things in store that coming up too. So, more work in work, slowing down the thing, but also more work in the podcast. So it has some things to look forward to. But I want to talk about things before things start happening. Always go. So we in freedom mode. We back to, when was the last time we was free? 2020, 2019 or something like that? The boss. Now, one thing I had to say, right? Just know I will. Because it distracted me. I feel like to really try and find somebody to whine on when I hear that in the background now. One of the things that I noticed about this country, right? We like to announce that we're going and announce. I don't understand. We're in the endemic mode, right? So before I could come here, and you know what, there's the thing with a late episode, you know, because the problem is when you're running late, more and more stories just come up, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, where the biggest story and the most recent story is take precedence over what happened. So I now always had to make sure I make my notes during the course of the week because I, just like the average Trinidadian, is get distracted from the news when things come out or distracted from the big story when something else happened. So let me start with what we would have talked about this week if this announcement wasn't made, right? Just so that I don't forget. What went on with Faris? Forget everybody else, right? The biggest question on people's mind, if you don't know, you know you're on a rock. There's a huge cabinet reshuffle recently, right? Which is something that, if you look at any government that we had, is a standard thing that these governments do somewhere around midway in the cycle. Because I want to say that the first cabinet that they appoint, when they do their the initial cabinet, is a little bit of a popularity contest. So, for instance, when a man like Dialsing win a big seat for you, that like St. Joseph, I think it is. St. Joseph or St. Augustine? St. Joseph, I think. And you remember, when he initially went in that seat, it was Lala versus Ian Allen. There's a whole celebrity show going down, but he win it and he retain it. That is somebody who we see as needing to have an important portfolio. Remember Patrick Manning said to run a ministry, all you need is a level head and common sense. So it's not about who is the best for the job necessarily, or who might be qualified for a position, or who have experience in healthcare, experience in education. A lot of it have to do with who win the election, and the popular candidates from the election is get good seats. So the big boy seats is usually in this country the Ministry of the Attorney General. So you had to give Faris that, because Faris is the girl them sugar. It had nothing to do with whether he know nothing about the law. He know nothing about the law, right? It had nothing to do with know nothing about the law, or he have, he's a politician from birth. He's a politician from birth too, right? It had nothing to do with them things. It had to do with his girl, damn sugar, and he fight a good fight down. So you know what I mean. So he need an appointment, and then you have Ministry of Energy. You have to put somebody good there who people like. You have Brad Manning. You had to show that you kind of still like Manning. You know what I mean? All those things had to happen. That's the things that at play when you're deciding who going in a cabinet. So a string of events happened over the last week, and it shows us up as true to form. This is just how we are. Let me put it like this. This is how I am. When Tuesday morning come, or I recording this on wherever there is record, right? I trying to see what's the biggest stories as close as possible to that, because it's always a strange thing to me. I just think, in my mind, I'm doing this for people who rush in on a Tuesday to listen to it, right? So apologies to everybody who rushed on a Tuesday and didn't see it this week, right? But I know how that feels. So when you're rushing on a Tuesday to listen to it, all the things current. So I always wonder about people, like when you catching this on a Saturday or a Sunday, or the next week, or like I'll tell you today, when I look at it, some people listening to episodes from 2-3 months ago, I trying to figure out, like, were you listening to them things so old and so still? Like people might tell me, salute my guy, sure and jure. But when I see telling me that he now catching back up, he listen to an episode, I can't remember which one it is. I trying to say, I was like, boy, I don't know why I say in that episode, and I can't remember what I do in the current episode. So when I looking for what's the next big thing, what has happened now, what is I could cover today. So it's kind of forget. But last week is a good thing. I have a little notes from last week, and I say, but wait, I wasn't comfortable with the approach and the casual nature with which our Prime Minister could say, hey, what's going on? I decide that Gary not supposed to be there no more. He didn't say that, right? But you know what I mean? He basically said that I am the high-ranking person who went to the president to meet with the head of the Police Service Commission to say I have issues with Gary Griffith. And again, I don't know if he do anything wrong, because I don't know how that's supposed to work. And if he's the head of the National Security Council and he's the right person to do that, then he didn't do nothing wrong. But I think it's a fundamental flaw in the approach to it. If that is the case, then no Prime Minister should appoint himself head of the National Security Commission. And it makes me wonder and go back and check. Look back at how many Prime Ministers had themselves as head of national security. So either put themselves as Minister of National Security, or at the time when they had the National Security Council or whatever they created, look at how much of them went and take that position. That is worrying. Only to find that worrying. we in what, I always come here and talk about corruption, and I don't like politicians, but I'm starting to believe that collectively we really like these politicians. And corruption is such an inherent part of the way we behave that we just willing to accept these systems that... So the outcome of corruption, we don't like when it's not in our favor. So then we look at everybody who corrupt, and this one is a liar and is delising, and he was crying but he lied. That's what we like. That's what we like. We like to attack at the end when it's too late, when it done happen already. And I feel like if the reason for that is because it wasn't in our favor and it didn't work the corruption didn't benefit me. It hurt me. If it has ever hurt, it don't seem to hurt no Trinidadian, because he's turning a blind eye to everything. But when it comes to these systems that's so glaring as an issue, where a Prime Minister could basically call on put pressure, even without, just by your presence. When you show up as the Prime Minister, you're putting pressure on people to make different decisions. And if that is the case, just do it publicly, and you make it very known. Don't make it a year later and I see some artists, what do you call them, reporters, not defending Rowley position, because again, I don't know that he did anything wrong. I just saying that system needs to be rechecked, where a Prime Minister could do that behind closed doors and affect systems like these. Because if we didn't have good reporters in this country, we wouldn't even know something like that happened. if a story like that never break, all of a sudden Gary Griffith would have been gone unceremoniously. How many other commissioners that happened to before? And can I remove somebody from there if I feel like they're driving a investigation that will hurt me? You see, and we always talk about the reform of the justice system in this country. That is one of the parts of the justice system that are reformed, because the police are responsible in a lot of ways for bringing people to justice, at least to face the charges or lay charges against them, right? So when you look at our response to these things, and a reporter basically coming out and say, this Keyshawn Haynes, right? A series of tweets to show where Rowley he clearly said before that he was the person. Number one, he never clearly said it. He just kind of never denied it, and he kind of alludes to it in a kind of way. And anybody, I agree with Keyshawn Haynes in that anybody who has sense would have known that Rowley was saying all along that he was the person there, but he didn't come out and say it until recently. So it had to be covered. It had to be a big story, and people had to react to it. So we need to know clearly, hey, where's the Prime Minister bounds stop and the Commissioner bounds start? Is some simple boundaries. We need to know where these things are. And then I hear Gary Griffith putting back allegations saying, hey, well, I was offered money, I think in the form of sponsorships and so on. And he wicked to say that 2 years when you look back at what he was doing with the sports and them kind of thing. Basically self-serving a whole set of tournaments which seem to be looking for favor for his son to become a national player or international player, if you want to call it that. And he come back and say the same thing. The Prime Minister and them, they promised them money if he was to take certain investigations off the table. I think it was not to take investigations of his PNMites off the table, but to investigate opposition politicians and the thing. I just find it's a dangerous precedent. But anyway, so that happened. And then, to me, that is a big story and a major issue. So it almost as if, we always say this, like we're a distraction-driven society. So almost as if to kill off that story and kill the momentum of that completely. Along with, and in that same week, there's a long week, boy. Last week we also had an announcement of gas prices going up. I'll talk a little bit about that and the impact of the economy and what we're about to face, right? But not. I shouldn't say prices going up. The prices going up because of what happened in the war, right, between Russia and Brian Stone. But the subsidy is under question right now. And I could understand why the subsidy. There was a time where when oil price go up, Trinidadians happy. We only happy people in the Caribbean. I remember being in Jamaica and looking at it, and when oil price go up, is a serious issue over there. Because the prices at the pump used to change based on what was the oil price in the world on any given day. I can't imagine what happening over there now when you see oil $140 a barrel and these kind of high prices. There was also a fuel subsidy, a fuel charge. I forget what they call it, that comes on your light bill in Jamaica. So every month you're paying your light bill at the rate of electricity that you use, like what we pay. What we pay every 2 months, they have a bill coming every month. The monthly bill I get in my apartments in Jamaica was higher than the bill I get for 2 months in Trinidad, right? Because again, electricity subsidized in this country through the fuel subsidy, right? They also had, beside your kilowatt usage and whatever it's called that, they had a fuel charge on your bill that's come every month. That varies with the oil price. So when the oil price high, that charge going up and your light bill going up that month. But when the oil price drop, you're a little happier because you're paying a little less money to fill your tank, and you're paying a little less money on your light bill, for instance. So when them telling me about take off water heater and thing that we don't even study in Trinidad, after the first bill I got, I started to take it off though. In darkness, I'm watching the TV, I turning down all the color. They say red is burn more current. I take off all the red out the TV. I just watching the blue and the yellow and them thing. I don't want to see it. So we living in a world where it's the reverse for us. For most of us in our history, it's been the reverse from the 70s up to now, right? From the first oil boom up to now, where when the oil price high, it benefits us. But I just want people to appreciate that it's not because gas get cheaper. Gas actually get more expensive, but because we had oil and gas to sell, the government itself was making more money through tax. And that tax was being redistributed to the society through a subsidy that was on 87, super unleaded and diesel, everything used to be, even the cooking gas. Well, there's a subsidy on that. And when we say subsidy, the idea behind the subsidy is this. If a cooking gas tank supposed to cost $50 and I is Ramco, I want my $50 for a gas tank as a private company. This is why I sell. This is how I make money. So what happens is when I pay $20 for a tank of cooking gas, is the government paying the next $30? And this is something that always, especially with classes, not to go back in the academics too much, right? But always hope that students start appreciating, because we talk about the government in Trinidad as almost like if it's God. You know, money from the government is manna from heaven. Like it didn't come nowhere. It didn't come from nowhere, I should say. It's our tax dollars. So we pay in tax. And of course, the oil companies and them paying tax at a much higher rate. Well, plenty more in terms of the amount that they collect from those companies. So they take in the $30 from the oil money and they pay back the tax. So when the oil price high for us, it just means the government just collect more money, so it's easier for them to pay the $30. And we just continue paying the 20. A way to appreciate as well that, let's say the gas price, let me use cooking gas as the example again, it's $50 for Ramco to make a tank right through. If the oil price go up to $150 and it used to be $60, it probably will cost Ramco more to make that tank of gas now. So let me say Ramco going up to $75 at this point in time. We don't even know that happened. That's the reality we live in for 50 years. We don't even know that the cost of the tank of gas went up. So when we say oil price going up, we celebrate, right? It's Rolls Royce time again, nice car. But the reality is that Ramco going up to 75. So instead of the government paying at 30 for us to get our $20 tank of gas, the government now had to put 30 plus 25 is $55 for we to get $20 tank of gas. I just hope that people appreciate that is the way it works. So what's the problem now? Why are we in a situation where the oil price gone up and they're talking about removing the subsidy? The problem is that we have a production issue. The amount of gas that we used to make, we were never in control of the price of oil, right? It's a price taker. We were never in control of the price of oil. The price of oil is a global market, and wherever the price of oil is, it is. We had to accept that price. So what we make our money on is volume. You know, in business, if you're selling something, the price of the thing by the number of things that you sell is the total money you're going to make for the day. So if you're selling, like, talk about the hustlers on the block, you know what I mean? If you have an ounce and you're selling the ounce for 1,000 and you have 10 ounce, your total revenue is 10,000, right? just for those who still hustling. So that's the reality. When we now gone from a country who had 10 ounces to push out, we are 1 ounce. So while the oil price gone high, yes, we don't have enough to sell. We don't have enough contracts. We don't have enough any ground. So the problem now is the revenue that the government was collecting had gone down significantly. I don't know if people are appreciating what we're going to face here. You know? We talk about this when we was in Lockjack into. So I went to Lockjack when it was IOB. You go back to them days when it was Tuno Puno. So a big part of what Roger Hossain and Kirk Mayhew and these fellas was teaching in Lockjack was, listen, 2020 is around the year when we have a significant drop-off in production of oil and gas. And then, because the economy is so dependent on oil and gas was responsible for, I want to say 80-something percent, but I'm probably wrong about that. But it was a real high percentage of the total money in the economy. Then we have problems. So now we only have 1 ounce to sell. So while the price high, we ain't collect a whole set of money. So the government cannot put that $30 or that $55, or when it goes to $140, I think the $55 must be going up to $80 now to subsidy. We can't afford to do it. So we ended up in a situation where when we could least afford it as individuals now, that tank of gas gonna go up in your house. The food done gone up already, right? Stacey sitting me through some grocery bills the other day and showing me the increases in prices is surreal. In my, me as a cafe kind of guy, but I feel like changing that, because I can't afford. There was a little meal I used to go by Maria's for, right? If you're at Maria's, fine, you know the thing. It's a salad with grilled chicken, with nuts, cranberry, and feta cheese. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, make me sound real bougie. I ain't like how that song is. But alright, it's a salad, right? and an Americano. And when I go and I order that, every day I used to go to that, it's come up to $71 every single day. If once I know I $70, I could order that. Or another day I order an omelette, so you just get 3 ingredients to the omelette, and you get a little piece of bread and some butter and my coffee. Again, my day started right. When I do that, it used to come up to $63. This week here, I went by Maria's, right? And I ordered the same thing. I sit down and I think. So when I know the prices went up a little bit because of COVID, right? So I sit down and I eat and I do my work and you know what I mean? Go and buy the cash and no time to pay. So I take out a hungy and I listen to my little Joe Budden podcast, meaning listening to the cash because I know listeners, what could I go up to? The woman saying 106. I said, oh God. That is for one meal, for one person. Regardless of how fancy the meal is or not. Just keep in mind that it's a salad. It's not take home, you know. It's not nothing like you eat half and you can carry back the rest. That is one meal. You need about 4 or 5 meals a day at 100 and something. Now, granted, I choose to go to an expensive place, right? But you're seeing the same thing across the society now. The thing gonna get hard. So when the Prime Minister come out and announce, on top of the fact that he interfered with Gary Griffith openly, he come out and announced that the oil price going up and the subsidy had to be removed. I see all the commentators talking about thing. In my opinion, they should have moved that subsidy in 1970 something. Stop that. That is not a good idea because we live in a false sense of reality. The reality is also that in an oil and gas society, when the oil price high and you have what we call an oil boom coming from 2 places, right? An oil boom could come from a high oil price, which we see now, or high oil production, like a fine oil. So again, it's the same thing with the ounce, right? If you have more ounces and it's 1,000 ounces, you make more money. Or if you have the same amount of ounces and it's gone up to 2,000 ounces, you make more money again, right? The reality is that the boom could come from a combination. So imagine you fine oil and the oil price get real high. That is what Guyana going through now. Salute all my brothers and sisters in Guyana. I'm coming to collect some of that moolah. I want US bad. We can't afford it here. But that's what Guyana facing now. Guyana have more oil in terms of production. And so their production increasing and price increasing is the best combination they could have. But think about what's going to happen on the ground in Guyana now. The average man in any industry going to start to make more money now. And whether the money they make in the price level could keep up with that is a different story. But you actually subsidizing people at a time when they're making more money, which is during our oil boom, is when we increase and put in more subsidies and put in more grants and this, that, and the third. And I thinking to myself, as an individual, right? If you're making more money, this might be a better time to put aside some money for a rainy day, which we do a lot of because of the Stabilization and Heritage Fund, which is designed to help us through the shocks of the oil industry, right? Because, you know what I mean, it's have highs, it's have lows, we can't control it, but I don't think it will help us much in terms of what we call in the end of the industry, oil industry. So I don't think what Rowley failed to tell you is that we in 2 different endemic here. We in the endemic for COVID, we glad for that. But we also in an endemic where at the end of the oil and gas, there's going to be a new reality for us in Trinidad and Tobago going forward. So that was a very, very heavy announcement when he said, hey, we got to look at these subsidies and see what we're doing. Call him almost the same day, come and say the dollar had to devalue. I'll get into that devaluation of the dollar maybe in our next episode, but that mightn't be such a bad thing. Neither of these things might be bad things. It will hurt us in a little while, but it's better long-run decisions if you ask me. We're going to talk about that in our next time. But coming off of that now is a big cabinet reshuffle, and them 2 stories about Gary and thing get back page. That was the end of that. So, Prime Minister, let's see what happened in cabinet reshuffle, right? Men get moved around. All competitors for PNM leadership get silenced by being, the man take Faris and move him from Attorney General to rural government. I guess he's in charge of local government. Boy. So Faris called a press conference. Now, I was thinking, Rollers shut down their press conference. Rollers must call you and say, what are you doing? I don't know kind of you calling a press conference, but I hear from a reliable source that Rowley don't really do that kind of thing. So if it's shut down, Faris must change his mind and then put out a release saying it wasn't bad as Fitzgerald Hines release when he said he saw the piper in a man's eyes. in a car park and he decided not to give him no money but to get to the work of the people. When he was, I think it was social development or something, so he was at the time. But it was a long-winded, empty thing with a lot of platitudes about serving the country and can't wait to get boots on the ground and this and that. And, and you know, this country is so opposition and government focused that Kamala's so wicked. Kamala come to say, you know, listen carefully when people talking, you know, they tell you who they are. Imagine as a prime minister, ex-prime minister of this country, and somebody who vying for prime ministership again, and somebody who was also a local government minister. She say the words, Mr. Rural thing, that for rat and dog and sewer, that the kind of ministry. And I think about Jesus Christ. So this is when you in charge, this is what you be thinking. I can't understand it. Like we forget these things. No, we do pay no attention to this. And when party time come back again, we just vote and have a good time. It's the greatest thing I've seen. But coming out of those big moves, where people had issues, right, with the move, and people were surprised by the move, particularly that move with Faris. So Rowley find himself in defense mode coming out of that cabinet reshuffle. But at least the devaluation, that discussion stopped. The oil price and the subsidy, that discussion stopped. Moving Gary Griffith, that discussion stopped. So he come out and say, this is from Loop TT, right? The boy say, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has rubbish claims that his decision to reshuffle cabinet, part of this country's cabinet last Wednesday was a distraction, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Speaking at PNM's caravan in San Fernando last evening, Dr. Rowley made it clear that it was his decision, not a last-minute one, and though it came as a surprise to many, nothing is wrong with that. He said people win the lotto and they end up surprised. Yeah, all right, cool, okay. Rowley dismissed further allegation that he had to reshuffle cabinet as a distraction from the Paria incident where 4 divers lost their lives. He said the decisions that would have been made is nothing to take lightly. Something like that is what they said, right? Quote, only a dotish person would say that. You really believe I was having a beer 4 days ago and wanted to have a distraction? I was able to get one of the most outstanding senior counsel in this country to give up his business and come into the cabinet? I think so. I think so. I think he was having a beer on the golf course. I think Amor, who's in new... I need to go on some more golf courses and see if Amor is play golf. But I feel that was a golf course conversation. I feel Faris had something to do with that Gary situation because it was very, very odd when the Prime Minister was clearly displeased with Gary Griffith and coming out openly and saying he had issues with Griffith and Griffith thing and he's a runaway horse and whatever the things that he was saying. While Faris was saying, no, Gary is the man for the job and this was time and all those things was happening at the same time. So I don't know if he had plenty time to think about it. I think it was about that time where two of them definitely start a cross thread. And when them men cross thread, it's only one man in charge in this country. I keep telling the Prime Minister is a king and the Prime Minister could do whatever they want. And that is pretty much the end of that. So that cabinet reshuffle, the man says, is not a distraction and all that. And what something that they said in this article, right? The PNM caravan. So it shows me that the PNM machinery is back up and running. The UNC machinery never stopped running, right? Because UNC had to respond to the fact that the government or the PNM was in the news every single day. No, it was COVID related, right? So maybe it was necessary for the Elsing to come there and talk every day, or maybe it was helpful or whatever. But what it certainly was a 2-year-long campaign on a daily basis, because the most followed account in the country and the most retweeted account, or at least it would be high up, would be the Elsing, the Ministry of Health. You know, they getting their messages out and being seen as doing, whether it's a good job or a bad job in your opinion, they're being seen every single day. They're getting a certain amount of face time that being paid for by the state, by the taxpayer, by our dollars, is what paying for them to stay very relevant and on TV all the time. Remember that when they were talking about, when they were in the throes of the pandemic, and in the several cycles of up and down and waves and all that, the ministry, the CMO and his team never stopped coming on because they are health professionals and they come in to talk to us about what we should do and shouldn't do. Remember that Terence Elsing is not a health professional, he's a minister. All he have is a level head and common sense. He's not a health professional, but he get the opportunity to come, and even if it's just to repeat what he might not have to come up with nothing innovative. All he had to do is repeat what them health people say and what the WHO say and all these people, and he getting FaceTime. That is campaigning, if you ask me. And many, many times during the course of them 2 years, we also see the Prime Minister free FaceTime, well, paid for by the state. We see the Minister of National Security. We see the Attorney General. Several ministers of national security. I remember when I was Stuart Young, you were seeing him all the time. So they have, and communications, Minister Education, everybody passed through. Everybody got a chance to show their face and say, what is he seeing and me? Remember me, you know what I mean, when it's voting time. Immediately as he announced endemic, the PNM caravan is back on the road because now they have to pay for the marketing for themselves. Now they have to spend their own money to campaign. So Rowley is immediately back on the platform and running the cycle to drum up support. So after this, after these two, the man said this changeover was no distraction. None of these things is distractions. They're just basically doing the government work. He didn't come up with this over no 4 beers, but we will give him the benefits of the doubt, right? But it have something that I see I come across here that I really feel he come up with under 4 beers. Listen to this.
I want to know if it belongs to Dominica. Because you want to know if it's favorite to America. And Lucy, I'm working to be with.
Say it again.
I want to know if it belongs to Dominica. Because you want to know if it's favorite to America. And Lucy, I'm working to be with.
Listen, I shouldn't laugh at that, because we had no separation between prime minister. Sometimes we had no respect for the office and things, because if you don't hear the voice, if you ain't know who Rowley imitating there, I ain't telling you. But I don't know where Rowley turned comedian or impressionist, because I don't want to laugh, because I don't find a prime minister should do anything like that. I find listen, Rowley's get too vexed now. I watch Rowley blood pressure, check his vitals, you know. This man had COVID. Once he had COVID or twice. This man is 100 years old. I watch him, you know. You can't be getting vexed all the time, because they have a next clip coming out of Parliament where he responding to I was thinking Andy Johnson. The man resemble Andy Johnson, that kind of way. I can't remember the man's name now. But he said, if you want to go in Guyana and live, go in Guyana. Let's come here and talk about Guyana and Barbados. Why you don't go back Guyana? He's angry. When you see angry Rowley come out, it's 100%. And I don't find that he should do your boy Wade Mark that. Wade Mark is a man. Wade Mark hard to listen to, right? If you're not a supporter of the UNC, if you're a staunch PNM, I remember my grandmother back in the day when UNC come on to talk Panday back in them times. She used to turn off the TV. And them days are no remote, you know. She had a girl, when you reach the age where you're not chill and you have to rock to get that woman used to rock, and then lock off that she want to hear up and had to say, I say, kid, but why are we doing this? Or turn down the volume. Then when Panday come back off, she had to rock again and get her TV to turn up. Same thing with my grandfather. She'll be vexed when you see Panday come on the TV. But if you don't support UNC or you're paying them, I can't imagine how grating it is to hear Wade Mark talk. And I didn't talk. He didn't used to talk like this all the time, you know. But like the more vex he gets, the more high pitch he just gets, and he just starts to sound like he cry. I don't know what is going on with Wade Mark. I hope it's not no medical condition of him getting so. But I think as he get older, I just want to get old and get very, very relaxed in life. You see me? There's a man I met at time in South, a fellow who owns a school called ATC. I want to say Automation Technology College or Automotive Technology College. I hope I have that right. But there's an owner of that school, rest in peace, a man named Mr. West. You know, when you see somebody and you admire them and you idolize that person, like that's what I work into what in life. Mr. West built a school from scratch where he was teaching all the courses. I was talking to my boy Elder the other day. Same kind of story with Mr. West, Mr. and Mrs. West, and now all their children. Running ATC, they have several branches throughout the country. And he was teaching the classes himself from 2-3 people to now a school with hundreds of people in uniform and thing, a technical school, right? Technical and vocational school. Salute to him. And I remember being in meetings with him. It was a learning experience for me young in my career, like trying to establish myself in the working world, you know what I mean? Because one of the things with me is I don't have a whole lot of work experience. I work for a long time, but I haven't worked in corporate world for a long time. So I spent some years in TSCT, but I was always in very junior positions, and I never got management experience in a company. And when I say company, what I mean is in big companies, you get a lot of guidance. You have mentors, you have meetings with other people who have done this for a long time. They send you on all kind of training and certification and professional designation and all these things. So that when you spend 5 years in that environment, you're very equipped to grow in a company. And maybe even if you leave and you start your own business, a lot of those managerial skills that you develop, you could use to help grow your business. And I didn't have a lot of that. When my father and I started our company, that would have been 2000. He started in 2005 and he left his job, and I left beginning of 2006, and he's starting from scratch. And for him, he had a lot of experience in the working world, a lot of corporate experience that he could use, and I didn't have much at all. I was always trying to figure it out as I'm going along. I mean, you do degrees and things, but them degrees are real academic, you know. Them things don't help you when you're faced with somebody or faced with situations. And I always admire Mr. West, because those times as a 25 years old and thing, I am doing my MBA in Lockjack and I working. I am false, let me put it like that, because I acting like other. I trying to act like what I see. I trying to act brave or act like I know. You're putting on a false sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So when I go in a meeting, I'm feeling like I need to dress a certain way, sit a certain way, speak a certain way, even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm too naive or too much ego to come out and say, no, I'm not sure and I don't understand. And them guys, because my bread and butter depending on this now, how to play, I know. And I admired Mr. West because when he came to meetings, he was always himself. He had no put on ship about him. He could put how much of degrees and how much of letters are wrong him. When you could put who you want in that meeting. Where you're gonna get in that meeting is Mr. West. So a simple thing he used to do when he come in the office by us, he pass first and he buy us at the doubles and he come in. He say, so while I in meeting mode and very serious and want to get to the business and make sure that we close this and I watching the money at the end of the thing, he walk into the room and I said the doubles. He say, I'll bring some doubles here, boy. I don't know if I'll eat these things. I'll eat some doubles now, man. You know what I mean? Let me eat some. Don't worry, everybody. We go figure out the work, man. Let me eat some doubles. And while he talking about doubles and thing, I remember having a girl named, well, let me not call the woman name, but she was working with us and very bright and degreed, all the things you want in a team member, right? But very proper as well, right? And Mr. West coming with the doubles, but this time Mr. West shirt button down to about the midriff. He's a man never used to button them top buttons for no reason whatsoever. And I remember I was telling you about Stag the other day, but what man was Mr. West from the Stag days in the 80s, because that man no waxing and no shaving on these things. You know what I'm saying? Plenty grey, salt and pepper on his full. So when we in that meeting, I watching this girl face. She eating them doubles, I can tell you that. I know with my false self, me hungry, you know, but I trying to eat the doubles because I want the deal. And if it's doubles, it could take to get the deal. I eating all them doubles. So that man shirt open, man. I only watching her, kind of glimpsing up shyly and watching like this man whole chest is outside and nipples is what's going on here. And listen, he not from this era of political correctness or harassment. He not on them thing. His shirt is not a button. And then eventually, after about 2 or 3 meetings, he come and say, "Here what? I ain't coming back in this office." He said, when we had to meet, all you had to come home by me. You know what I mean? We call it come home by me and let me walk through these things. Now, his wife and the rest of the family, very, very business-like still. But so West is who he is. You know, when you reach a certain age, he ain't going through them things. When you go by Mr. West now, Mr. West in the drawers, wet in the... The man in the house, he damn right, you know. No kind of put-on-ship or no kind of falseness about him. That man was just who he is. So it's somebody who I emulate. And my goal is to get all like that. I I don't want to be in a... It's like some people, when they get old, the older they get, is the more grumpy they get. And their face, the grumpiness just be on their face, for the wrinkles don't move no more. Like, while them get grumpy, the skin start to get grumpy now, and everything about them, all their fingers grumpy. I don't want to get old. So, you know how some people, when they get old, they're just graceful. I feel the gracefulness and the way you look when you get old. Like, I watch... I'm a father so much, yeah? But my father's sisters, when you watch them, from over the years I know them, my whole life, and listen, they have a glow about them. When you see them, I have one who, I could call her name, I have an auntie named Auntie Merle. When you see Auntie Merle's skin, you say, boy, this is what I want for myself. That is how I want to reach. When I reach that age, I want my skin look so. When I see my Auntie Therese, she's doing a PhD now. Every now and again, she calls me to tell me, how you convert an audio file to transcribe for this and that. But they behind them doing her PhD. When you see her, she looking rosy, she glowing, she happy. From the time she see her, she smile. You know, when you reach a stage where you're just glad to see people who you know as children, you see them as adults and them doing good, all your children big, all them doing well. I want to reach that age looking so. I don't want to reach that age and I'm so angry about life and I'm so bitter that my voice starts to sound so.
I want to know if you belong to Dominica. Because we want to know if it's to America. I really am working a bit.
I don't find the Prime Minister should do that, But to be honest with you, I want to find a real clip with Wade Mark so we could do a little comparison, because I feel really I'm voting. These are the kind of things I could vote for. Because if you're so good at this, I want to hear... You could run the country. If your impression's so good, I use a man I have faith in. I'm going to find a clip of Wade Mark. I want to do a little comparison. Don't vex with me. I want to do a little comparison to see how good this man impression was. Because if you could do impressions like this, you are my voter. I tell you, I'm looking for obscure reasons to vote for people. So far now, we're really running. Should go on us by chance. I am my vote. If you could do these impressions, let me compare a little clip from the other day with Wade Mark. Listen to a little exchange from the Parliament channel between Wade Mark and the speaker, and tell me how you find Rowley song.
The Honourable Minister, guided by what he has just explained, that is that it has been a practice over the period of time past to allow this very powerful trade union representing the interests of 20,000 teachers and maybe a little under.
So, Senator Mark, if I may, could you just bring your question together? Because you kind of...
Yeah, your response, sir.
Take a little while to run up to the wicket, but when I come deadly. But I take your point. Madam President, may I take your guidance? May I ask the Honourable Minister, given past practice,
yes,
whether he would not agree with me that the Minister of Education erred in not having this very important body called tutor on the National Advisory Committee, Madam President.
Senator Mark, I won't allow that question.
It's stress all the man blasted voice, man. How you go make the man say all that? The man say he take a little time to run up to the wicket, but when he come deadly. When he come deadly, now you tell him ask over he question. But listen, the Prime Minister shouldn't do that. But I don't know who to find out was funny. I find it was funny as hell because that man with Mark spot on. But and you know the thing about it is we have plenty more of this to come because PNM is on the run. The machinery is up and running. I suppose it's a combination of right now it's a combination of what elections coming up in terms of local government or wherever they have next, or any by-elections or whatsoever supposed to come after this. And internal elections where men had to start to show their own face time. Because I remember clearly Rowler say this is his last term as PNM leader. And by extension, the last term as Prime Minister, and he was going to step down after this term. But after this reshuffle, I don't see that coming at all. And then, of course, the best distraction of them all, every single world leader who had these COVID restrictions, I think they used this. They used it, not use it, because at some point we'd always have to, we'd always had to move past COVID. We'd reach the endemic stage. But all of them time the way they're releasing the information about, or when they're going to say that we're free, to use to their advantage. I remember Boris Johnson doing it. You know what? Coming off the heels of some big thing that happened, they always had the little trump card that said, all right, Ollie, we're free now. Everybody could do what they want. And we not to worry about nothing no more. Everybody could come out and all the restrictions are over. And of course, in the mix, pat themselves on the back real quick for leading us so very well through this pandemic. And while we might have lost lives, so imagine how much lives we saved to be able to at the expense of a few, we were able to save the many and all these things and the sacrifices that we have made, and we're going back to normal now. So unfortunately, with the reopening of everything, I have a little bit of a problem and I need help to solve it, because rumor have it, I ain't seen nothing from the ministry yet, but rumor have, all signs are pointing to the fact that school is reopening in the next term, which is early in April. And I want to say up front that I'm talking from a position of privilege. And if you're listening to this, you're listening from a damn position of privilege too. So I home here with Zachary, and Zachary conditions for homeschool. I had to adjust my household for him to be able to be homeschooled. Same thing with me. I have to adjust my conditions for me to be able to work from home, right? Most of us who listening here were able to make those adjustments, and we okay. I acknowledge that there would be more people who would not have been able to make such adjustments and had a very, very hard time figuring out this homeschooling situation or online schooling because of lack of devices, lack of internet access, one device between two children, no device at all, or spaces to do it home. I had to work from home. I can't supervise you, or I had to work from the office. I'm an essential worker. I out there every day. Me and my child living home alone. I send any child by a neighbor. The child ain't going to school at all. Teenage children who have the choice not to go to school, or the bright ones who staying in their bed whole day and they just have a phone log into the class, and just like the classes I teach. And coincidentally, I learned only know one time, right? I have a class starting this weekend, so it's going to go sporadic is the name of the podcast for the next 4 weeks or so. But when school reopens, it's creating, it will create a better situation from all the feedback I get, and for a lot of families, right? Let me say for the majority of families, because now you could go down the road and carry your child, and your child there for the day, and you work for the day, and go back to the routine. I will say as well that opening back up, you remember when we used to say the term new normal? There's no such thing as a new normal. There's only one normal, and there are people saying that from the beginning. It's only a one normal. And the reason I'm saying this is everywhere, even in the first world developed countries, a big part of when they talk about reopening is getting people to go back to the commute and go back to the city. Because we want to look at New York, Chicago, Miami, LA. These cities depend on millions of people traversing the city every day. That's how the economy of the city. And without those cities, the state economy have a real problem. And it's the same thing in Trinidad here. From the dinament man who buy Citygate, straight up to people like the biggest businesses in the country, like the ones who selling cloth. Let me say that, right? They're selling all different versions of cloth, which would, in today's world, it would be vehicles, loan to buy them, groceries. What again they're involved in? Energy itself, where you understand? So when they're involved in so many businesses, a big part of what they've built their success on is the fact that people commute daily to some place and work from that place every day. Because think about it, I started to use drop food. Drop is expensive like hell too. But if you're in other cities or you're abroad and you use Uber Eats or any of them, when you're going in Uber Eats in, unless you use Jussie Smollett, you're not going for no Subway, or you're not going for no, well, let me get the list, right? Subway, KFC, Starbucks, who else Prestige Holdings on? They're talking about losses here and having to cut back and all that. Think of when you order in something like Uber Eats. You're not going for these Subways, and let's say Jussie Smollett. You're not going for these Subways and things of this world. You have different little smaller people who you go by. So the bigger businesses, like when you think of KFC, Prestige Holdings, men are Subway, KFC, Pizza Hut. the sales declining, companies getting smaller, they depending on us to go to work like that till we hungry and we like zombies, and then we walk out and you just get yourself a smoothie. Or you get yourself one of them soft serve ice cream and you feel better about your life for 10-15 minutes till they start to give you pressure like how they give me pressure here in work. And then you just get some fried chicken up in here. And then on your way home, you pass by Linda's, you get some bread and butter and some cheese and some of them sausage rolls. And then you just get yourself home. And you plop in front of that TV, you do a little 2 hours and you go and sleep and you do that all over again. And then weekend, you can't wait for escape. So you say, boy, listen, I'll go by Frankie's and take some drinks and just drown out my sorrows from this man who gave my pressure right through. You know what I mean? So we the world needs us to get back to urban life. And to do all that, we have to buy gas to fill with tank, change oil, long tires and sell. When last you change tires on your car? You ain't servicing your car and them locked dead like hell. So a big part of this idea of endemic and reopening, I see some people upset about the reopening. I started to realize that there might be a difference in attitude with people who had COVID before, like myself, and people who never get it before. All who never get it before, they're still frightened. Call it never you go make it. But like me, so I good. I feel like I survive. So I ready to open. I ready to fet. As any wise words out, Mr. Neil Iwer George. I want to get on bad. But that little hesitation that people have for opening up, I understand it. But I suppose when the place open back up, you can still wear a mask and nothing's stopping you from washing your hands. And as much as I joke about it, if you ain't get it, try not to get it. as much as you could. But once the place reopened, a lot of businesses going back to some semblance of normalcy, restaurants and them thinking not to worry about who vaccinated and who unvaccinated. And apparently, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Apparently, the vaccinated people now saying, ha, look all they run and take vaccine and now the place open back up. I thinking we still on that. I don't get a vaccine none up in me. And I survive. Me, the vaccine helped me survive, but I'm waiting for 3 months. I'm going to take the booster and then hope for the best way I'm concerned, man. But we here. But the place opened back up, and that's a good sign for business in particular. Because when you see a company like KFC charging you for ketchup, we see a few different things, right, that indicate in the hard times to come. KFC say they're charging people for ketchup. Doublesmen don't say they're going. You can imagine Doublesmen tell you is an extra $1 for Shadow Benny and tamarind sauce. Imagine you had to think about, because all I go and say by those man is slight everything. I don't even know what the man have. I don't like cucumber, so every time I say slight everything, I have to pick off all that cucumber. But I say slight everything, maybe because the everything free. Plenty people, I was glad that Twitter went wild with how much people have all them little pack of ketchup. Because the reality is, I don't use them pack of ketchup. It's annoying when you buy something and you have to squeeze out this one pack of ketchup and then you take the next one, you squeeze out this one. Because at Trini, what we really want to eat is the ketchup and the mustard and the pepper. We just buy thing because we had to put it on something. If container ketchup used to sell to eat, we'd buy that. We really just in it for the condiments. That is the most important thing. I remember McDonald's. Up to now they still have it. McDonald's in Trinidad, for those of you who don't know. When you go there to buy food, the ketchup station have something called ketchup and Trinidad ketchup. Salute to McDonald's for understanding the culture. Because we don't like ketchup make out of tomato. We like sweet ketchup. Our ketchup is make out of pawpaw, pomsite, anything with pulp, pumpkin, anything with pulp, we make ketchup out of it. It come out sweet, that kind of way. I think our tomato ketchup would really say so when they make Heinz. And I remember Pizza Hut coming here and having a problem. Well, Pizza Hut come here with a cultural problem from the beginning because their men say ketchup is not for pizza. Like how people like to say ketchup is not for Chinese food and pineapple is not for pizza. Because you're Chinese aficionado, you some kind of connoisseur of Chinese food, so and use Italiano, so Italiano under the pineapple. Let me tell you something. Pineapple is not for the pizza where you buy. When you start to buy my pizza, you could tell me how I supposed to live. What the hell I be here in Trinidad? I put in pineapple on it. I don't care what kind of pizza I buy, I put in pineapple on it. And I went to Italy already and a big chunk of pineapple they put in on pizza in Milan. So I don't know who tell people it's a no pineapple on pizza where people get this idea from. When you go there and a matter of fact, I don't think it have anything that they do put on pizza when you go in Italy then, but tuna. So anyway. And ketchup is on Chinese food. If I feel to put ketchup on and I paid in it. I remember a time I used to go to Rib House. Is that a man named Skis in St. James, right? Skis is what you call, like how you are connoisseur of Chinese food and connoisseur of pizza. Skis is a connoisseur of cocaine, right? You know the type. Skis is a connoisseur. He knows cocaine very well. I would like to say crack, not so much cocaine, right? But Skis is the man in St. James who we used to send for thing. Every area, if you grow up in an area, not where you live in now. I know they don't move out and move on up to all the gated communities and all the high fences, all the townhouse living, and manicured lawns, and all they move from these places, right? But where you grew up, it had a man who used to send for thing, a runner, right? That was Skis. And I used to send Skis by Rib House. Now, when I look at where I was living from Rib House, if you know Rib House in St. James was opposite Smokey and Bunty, next to Mokarapo Gales back in the day. I was living on the street behind Smokey and Bunty. Now that I look at it, we were some lazy SOBs to be sending Skis up the road for food when we could just walk. But we didn't want to mash up the lime, so we used to send Skis. And Skis used to go, I tell him, I want Rib House fries. Rib House had the best fries at the time. I say, our box fries. I tell them, I say, let them pack the box. I say, Skis, don't let them give me no half box, and pack the box with fries. And put real barbecue sauce, real sauce, Skis, sauce it up. Boy, when Skis bring back the box to me, I still see no white in the fries. I so vast. I say, Skis, I thought I'd tell you put real barbecue sauce, Skis, but there's real barbecue sauce. I said, nah. I said, Skis, when you put barbecue sauce, I want it to come like a soup. Let the fries and them be swimming like Nemo in that barbecue sauce. Don't bring those things for me here where I have to be getting no part of that fry must be dry. And I must, when we finish eat all the fries, I must be able to drink the sauce out the box. That is what I'm looking for. That is how we buy food in Trinidad. We want something to put sauce on. So Pizza Hut here had a problem because them men, remember it's a franchise, them men give Pizza Prestige holders and a franchise and they say, listen, we make money like this all throughout the world with this recipe, these drinks, this format where you come by the door, you stand up, you wait for a seat, you sit down, you think, we're good. This always make money. We make billions around the world like this. You do it exactly like this. Don't change nothing. I don't care how you make pizza in Trinidad. I see all they have such thing named Mario's where all the cheese slide off and fall down when you pick up the thing. We don't do none of that. This is how we do it. We have delivery. You could come and pick it up or you could eat inside. This is what we do. Don't change nothing, please. And a wise person in Prestige Holdings who have years of experience with KFC would have sit down in a meeting with them and say, guys, you see this Parmesan cheese? That's all I want people to put on pizza. Number one, it's pretty expensive when we have to buy Parmesan cheese from you to give our customers. But nobody in Trinidad, nobody can go eat that, you know. And these pepper flakes, sorry to let you know, I know it's real good everywhere you go and you make billions of dollars with it, but it's pretty expensive for us to order this from you and nobody gonna need that. So what I want to do is, we have a company here called Swiss. Nothing to do with Switzerland at all. It's just made in Trinidad. I don't know where they get the name Swiss, but it's a Swiss and we have one called Matux and they make this thing called ketchup. It's sweet. And people feel about ketchup in this country the way Skis feels about crack. So let's just get it from Swiss. It's cheap. And just make it available for everyone. And them fellas in Pizza Hut say, no. What are you going to do? Put that sweet stuff on it. When them taste that Swiss ketchup, they must say, wait. This can't work, because our recipe and marinara sauce and dipping sticks and the man in Prestige, he don't own Pizza Hut. So he would have come and say, guys, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. I know this culture. People buy pizza, not for the dining experience like what you were showing me in this brochure, or not for how good it tastes based on the pizza. People buy pizza because they want something to put ketchup on and mustard. And the pepper we eat here don't come in flakes. It's come in sauce. Swisses make that too. And what we buy pizza for is to make circles. We like the fun of making that circle. So you make the circles with the ketchup. And you take your mustard and you make these circles with that. And then you take the pepper. No, it's always some child who has to eat the pizza who do eat thing. So you make your circles now like Pac-Man, where you leave out 2 slices and you make it. That is what we buy pizza for. That is the experience we're looking for. And them men in Pizza Hut say no, that absolutely not. We don't know about Swiss quality. Next time somebody named Swiss make something, somebody in Pizza dead, and it's all the way through the world suffering sales because you killed somebody with all your old stink ketchup down there. No. After 1 year, when the man went back, and your boy Mutse and them gone back with the profit and loss and say, here, what's going on? Sales is below target. We're not getting what we want. And I want to let you all know that it's because we're not giving people ketchup. It might sound stupid, but if people get ketchup, sales will go up significantly. And them men must be tried that they say, all right, here, what's going on? We go send you Heinz ketchup. Because Heinz, we know their quality. We could get out of that deal. We could get it. And Mutse would say, guys, no. Guys, you see that we don't want ketchup made out of tomatoes. We want sweet sauce. You know what I mean? We want sweet sauce. We can't deal with this. And them men must be back and forth until they eventually give what McDonald's do and give a local ketchup and see how sales skyrocket. So the sauce is so important to we that the sauce become a national story last week. Because KFC said they're charging people for sauce. No. Well, for the condiments then, it's not sauce by them, right? But if a doubles man was to say, all right, a doubles is $6. But they say $1 for Tambran, $1 for Shadow Benny, $1 for that coconut thing they put by Yui, $1 for cucumber. So a doubles could cost you about $12 if you say slice everything. I bet you we stop telling the damn doubles, man. I bet you I stop with that cucumber thing and picking off the cucumber when I get it and them thing. And then the next problem we have as Trinis too. If doubles men get away with that, you know how much tamarind sauce I want for my $1. I walk in with a container load. I say, listen, fill up this whole container for me with tamarind sauce. Because I ordered in 6 doubles, I was 6 set of sauce in this. I'm measuring it out for myself, you know what I mean? But KFC decide, all a little pack of ketchup and them have a charge. And really what it is, right, when you think of it, is not so much... I think it's a nuisance cost because they don't want to do that. I spoke to somebody who was working at Prestige Holdings at the time and he told me that at the time when I was eating fish, I used to be boys called a pescatarian. And I used to look forward to when KFC have a Lent thing, like a fish sandwich or fish and fries and things. It used to taste real good back in the day. It wasn't so good up to the other day. But I used to look forward to that because that's the only time I could really eat KFC. So I used to kill that for Lent. And that's the only time KFC was selling fish. And I was surprised to hear from him that like they would rather not do that. I don't want to use the term loss leader because I don't think that's what he said. He said, you know, you do it to keep the promotion up and stuff. But the fish promotion during Lent was actually designed, it's more people coming into the store and they go buy more chicken. He said because half the time, plenty of that fish thrown away at the end of Lent because after Lent, not much people buying it. And the sales not that great on the fish anyway. And I think he know what he's saying, right? He was working there. But you're seeing the evidence of it now where we in Lent now and you notice KFC are no kind of fish special. I didn't see them come with no fish or no shrimp or the things that they used to do before. Because what they want to do is fry chicken right through. And I think just like what that fish was a nuisance, that packs of ketchup is a nuisance. That they want to stop buying that. They're clearly looking for ways to save money. They also, I think we should be a little grateful for it, to be honest, because what they could have also said was every single box or meal that they sell has gone up by $2. You understand where I'm coming from? It's another way to save cost without increasing or save cost rather than increasing the price of delivering something. And I think it will be eliminated. I don't know how come it be. Well, I guess it become a big story because we ketchup people. When you see that becoming a big story, and then on the flip side of it, you have Unilever talking about closing down and so many employees going home. Scary thoughts, you know what I mean? At the end of this month, because if the manufacturing and the Unilever is down. And then you're just seeing generally, not just with the biggest businesses, but smaller businesses, you're starting to see them who ain't opening back, who done convert into grocery and not converting back into anything else or small shop and those types of things. And then you're also seeing more of these types of crimes where somebody running by Domino's the other day in the fast food world again and rob a Domino's. But thank God nothing happened to nobody. There's a scary thing to look at. And I also able to find them Domino's outlets be lonely. If I order in them places, I should say if I buy in from those places, I'd rather just order in. So when I heard about the term new normal, when I think about it from a business standpoint, I tell myself, well, all the businesses that set up themselves just to do delivery, because I'm sure there are many people who would have eaten Domino's before but never went in a Domino's. More so than it would have been years ago. So think about this. Does Domino's really need a storefront if 90% of the business is delivery? Do we really need to see that store, or could they get cheaper rent somewhere else and get a mass producing place where, so you just have one Domino's in town, one in South, and one in Chagonas maybe, one in Scarborough, and I just doing deliveries. Then you can't come. Don't come. We making everything and send for you, because that's how places like Uber Eats, Drop Taxi, Drop Food Drop I should say. What's the people name in South? Neighborhood Munchies. They making money. They don't have no outlet. They're just charging you a loud $30 to bring your food home by you. So maybe it's an opportunity for more businesses like that to come out. But we don't want that. The governments or the decision makers who are highly pressured by the business people, they want a business model where you come, you spend your gas, you find food, you find clothes to wear every day. When you send them clothes to wear every day, more detergent go sell. It's a whole economy based on people getting up early and heading somewhere for a long time and then coming back tired and frustrated and depressed and so on. So I in a situation now where I live in Chagonas now. This boy doing homeschool all the time or online school. And now I had to figure out how he going to school in San Fernando every day. And now I had to find something in Sando to do for the 8 hours that he in school before I come back up the road. So we had sublet our office and that kind of thing. Now I had to beg back for space in our office so I could go back and work from the office. So I say all that to say more reasons why. It's going to be a little sporadic. It's going to be a little shaky. But stay with me. Don't go nowhere. We're here. On to lighter stories than hard times ahead, right? There's one person who kind of wish they had a little hard times ahead. As much as we're looking to get out of hard times, this man was trying to get into hard times and then find himself in a hard time. 56-year-old man is in police custody after he stabbed a woman several times when she left him at a Port of Spain guest house on Monday night. Police said the man and the woman went to a guest house near the Port of Spain General Hospital at 11 p.m. The man later told police they fell out and the woman left shortly after. The man was angry and followed the woman onto the street, broke a glass and stabbed her in her face and body. Passers-by took the woman to the hospital where she's in critical condition up to Tuesday morning. Police said the man then walked to the Central Police Station where he admitted to the assault. He's expected to be interviewed by investigators. Well, it went on to say that apparently what they fell out over was I want to put these things delicately, right? Maybe delicate is not the word I should use. Apparently, he had some little false starting issues. You know what I mean? As a man, let me talk to the men, right? We don't like to admit this, right? But sometimes you just have a little false starting issues. You know what I mean? Look at what we're going through in this world. It's a pandemic, plenty thing on men's shoulders, men going home here and making no money. You had to find a next job. You're frustrated. You had to go back out to work. You didn't spend money to make a home office. Now you had to go back in the office. Your gas price going up. KFC ketchup going up. You're frustrated. So much is on your mind that when it's performance time, you have another false starting issues. Now, crazy don't tell me Dr. Raj is the man to check for that, right? So if you know you're having these kind of issues, have places where you could get help. You don't go and stab nobody and all these things. But let me tell you what went on in this story, right? I had the insight on what went on in this story because very early when they published this story, they showed the man who was alleged to have done this, right? Now, the man is what you would call, I'm trying to find words to put this out, you know what I mean? I don't want to be, the man is what you would call very ugly. And it have a word between the very and the ugly that I wouldn't use on this podcast. Come on, mother, this is the man very ugly. So it's not the kind of man. Let me put it this way, right? If a man like me, a good looking man like me, go KFC, and I nice and the cashier nice, I gonna get a ketchup for free. I telling you now, I gonna sing this go up, girl, we're moving. We're moving so good. I don't tell him my moves already, you know. I'm moving in close. I say, what? Ketchup between me and you. And me and that good looking woman going to exchange that ketchup for free. But when you're, how to put it? When you're ugly bad, you got to pay for your ketchup. So this is what going on with this man, right? They didn't tell you this in his story, but that man was paying for his condiments in this guest house, right? His pay, he had to pay. Listen, I guarantee you that man is paying. He spent his money. So the thing about it is this. Think of everything we talk about so far. People getting laid off. Money harder to make. No, everything expensive. When I watch Stacey because I see getting robbed, I see like she mining the outside man now. I say she going a step further. Me and mining. I tell you, I talking it in big. Me and mine a little help. But you can't mine the side man. It's a rules to this thing. You can't mind how you will be gaining money before he give you money so we could take it easy. You know what I mean? Like we make more money in the household. I for that. But when I started seeing the grocery bill, I said, nah, boy, like she mining them, boy. And he expensive taste. But when we went through the grocery bill and thing going up, so man, money going down. Thing going up. Well, not ugly man thing, right? But prices going up. And you frustrated. So this man has to work hard whole week or whole month. No, I mean, to be honest with you, nobody's so ugly in monthly paid. I want to be realistic in this story. Yeah? Nobody in wait until month end to pay you because the exchequer looking to get you out of face. That kind of ugliness, you definitely daily paid. They want to pay you your money today, hoping that it will come back tomorrow, right? But he is paying for condiments. And he had to work hard whole week. He definitely doing manual labor. This is a construct. It have no desk could take that kind of face every day. Nobody in no office is handling that. So imagine this man, I picturing him busting wall. You know what I mean? When you have construction, but you can't afford a backhoe, tidy kind of man is called, he hand rough. So he busting wall and thing whole day. And that man do all that work and save up his 3-4. Well, let me put it this way. If you're paying for condiments, right, and the person who's selling the condiments is making this transaction at a guest house near the Port of Spain General Hospital, I feel the person conducting interaction ugly like hell too. There's a whole ugly fest going on there. So that will be cheap. So let me give me benefits of the door, right? Let me say it's at 200 or 150. It's much more. He ain't spending more than that, right? But you have to pay, and it's have reasons why certain businesses in this life is upfront, right? Like when I go in Maria's, I could order my food, I could sit down and eat it comfortable, and then I could go and pay for it, you know what I mean? Or Courts will send something home by me, I sign up my contract and I take my time and pay for it. But in this business of guest houses and condiments, there's no layaway. There's no credit. These are the reasons why it's no layaway and no credit and thing, you know. Everybody in the guest house business, just take their money up front. The lady in question here, I hope she recover well. All the joke I'm making and thing, it's really unfortunate and all that. And I hope she do well and she okay in the end. But she's going to take her money up front. There's no two ways about it. I have a little Kitchener song to play for all you about that too. One of my favorite little kitsch songs, and you go. The song say, "Back a grong money a hand." Let me see who know Calypso from who ain't no Calypso in this episode. Every now and again, I have to lose all it completely, you know. The song saying, "Back a grong money a hand." I wonder what he mean by that. The reality is that there is no kind of credit. You have to pay up front. And these are the reasons why people pay up front. Because you see, when you have your problems, don't blame your problems on me, you know. We have a half hour. And do what you had to do within the half hour. Anything could come true for you in that half hour. But brother, after half hour, I'm gone. There's no refunds. There's no credit. My money is in my bosoms or in my purse. You're not going to get back that money. And this is the reason why this man stabbed up this woman and she lost he in jail. Because you go on in the people place. And it costs him plenty here because you have to pay 150. That is number one. I'm assuming 150 is a good going rate for a man of his looks and the woman that he was with, right? 150. So let me call that I'm trying to find the right words, you know. Well, you know when you take a maxi, right? A maxi is a ride too, right? So when you're going on a maxi, is that a pay a fare? So let me just call it fares, right? So I don't mean, like, when I say fares, what I mean is like a maxi fare. So just like how maxi have fares, if you want to, you have to pay the fare too. So let me say the fare is $150. I guarantee he have an ugly tax. That is at least 33%. So now you have 200, right? You have to pay your ugly tax. All that paying up front. The guest house were their money. Guest house didn't take it. No, people like us who listening to this, who not of this life, you know what I mean? We going to go to a hotel, right? A place like the Hyatt, a place like the Hilton. Where again we have the Marriott. You know, we travel and we go to all-inclusive places and all these nice things. We do these things, and you know they trust us. So when we go there, we put a little credit card on file, but you don't pay up front. You go and you eat at the hotel restaurant. They say charge it to the room. You know what I mean? And you think and when you leave, you settle everything and you go and everybody happy, right? That's the normal transaction, right? But in cases like these that rent establishments that rent by the half hour, I don't know if Hilton have half hour rooms. Or Hyatt, I wonder. They have a half hour room. That might be a good idea, you know. But in certain establishments where you have to pay for time slots and not nights, you have to pay up front. So the man spent it was $150 plus the ugly tax, right? $200. Let we say, I mean, if it's by Port of Spain general, they can't charge him no $500 and no $600 for an hour, you know. They had to charge $100 an hour. So let we say he pay $50 for the half hour. So now we are $250. The man is 56 years old, right? And I mean, looks is not his thing. That's not his department. And he doing manual, very hard labor. So it's taking him long to earn up that money. So I had to assume that when he get a half hour and he get that kind of freedom, it's just like when we work whole week and we take pressure. We want to go by Frankie's. When we go by Frankie's, we bat in, right? Or like me, I like to play. Mass is my escape for the year. When I go there, I batting. Or when you go on vacation, you go on your cruise or you go your all-inclusive place. You're overeating. You're over-drinking. I'm talking truth or not? You over-indulging in your vacation. Sometimes you go on a nice restaurant, you eat and you're full, but they come with a cafe creme de la creme, de whatever you call it thing, and them fancy these are lazy. You're eating that too and you're stuffing yourself. You drink a coffee too, because when we go on to relax, we're relaxing heavy. We work out, right? So I'd assume that this man want to make the most of his half hour of recreation at the end of this very long week. So which means he buy Punch, Baba Roots, Blackstone, Tiger Bone, 2 Magnum to chase down a bullet of punching. He come prepared to put in good work. This man is no office boy, and this man come to work. It's not easy to spend Blakey money. So $200 by $50 for the half hour. When you add up all them Punch and Baba Roots and all them things, he spend the next $50 there. So this man cruising towards that $300 now. Remember, you only work for about $300 for the weekend, so it's all the money going down in here bank. And when he gone there now, the man start to have some problems. It ain't working the way all them Baba Roots and things start to fail him. He didn't just drink a punch, he drink a bomb. He make sure he get a bomb with everything. He say, put everything in it for me. He say, I want to make sure all you have I want my back strong. You know the kind? And boy, as many of us know, every now and again, when you get into these kind of situations, one head thinking one way, the next head thinking the next way. You know who in charge, fellas. Don't you one head in charge, you know. So when that man say he ain't moving, you know. So you are in a situation now where you start to study all your $300 and all that money done spent. All that money spent. You watching that $300. And the girl, she ready because this is her business. You know what I mean? When you jump in a maxi to ride, the maxis pull out one time. Sometimes you ain't sit down good. And the maxi mash out is fall back in your seat, you know. So think about when she go in there is a half hour you have. She wants to make sure she make a loyal customer out of you. And boy, you can't get this thing to work. You never check Dr. Raj. All this thing you doing ain't working. So you know what it is there to do for the whole time? Play with your toy, boy. She had to play with it. She just play with it. Yes. About 10 minutes past, you know what she doing? Play with it. She just play with it. So he in the side. That man watching the time going down, and I'm telling you, as a professional, just like how I tell earlier this week, I had to work, because thing going wrong, clients and happy, I had to be out there, I had to work for money. These people know how to work for the money too. So I guarantee you, when things start to go wrong, as a professional in the trade, this woman, she play with it, 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 play with it. A whole 20 minutes pass. Now, Hyatt, there's just slide a little thing under your door, right? When you're supposed to check out. And it's this little checkout, but it's a gentle way of telling you, listen, you know what I mean? You said you was checking out this time. You had to call the front desk. And why are you talking like Wade, man? She said, you had to call the front desk and tell them, so if you're staying extra time, let us know, because them want to get you out by 10 so they could clean the room for somebody who coming in by 1. Airbnbs just give you a little courtesy call to say, hey, what's going on? You're checking out today. We want to make sure you're out at 9. They send somebody sometimes to check off, clean out and thing. And if you had to stay extra days, no problem. So there's just like, all right, well, no problem, just let us know and we could pay. Or they have times where somebody done booked and you can't stay no extra time. It happened to us in Tobago last year around this time. We had to get out of the house because the people come in for the place. And you had to chill in the airport and get your thing out. In establishments like these, they half hour. Tell me if you ever heard this before. All that said, I play with it, and then the door started to knock because it's 5 minutes left. You can't overstay your time. No, the thing about the play with it, play with it, play with it. It's the problem is this. That fella that started getting some hope, boy. Sparrow say, just show me some kind of life. When Sparrow saying Willie dead, Sparrow say, boy, give me some kind of, you know what I mean? Slap in my chest. Do something now, man. Let me see what it is happening. Nothing. But it's gave a little life, like it wants to say. Like he tried, but boy, when he ain't make it. And I could tell you, if you were seeing some sign of life, I hope, even if it's your little 5 minutes, because you don't spend about 300-400, you're behind. And you're embarrassed now. And I'm telling you, she's a professional, so she go help the cause. And all she could help, she go help. So when you start to hear, you go say, and you get little signs of life, you'll say, here what? I could pay for the next 15 minutes and next $25. Now you have to spend again. Even deeper in the hole now. But hey, as Sparrow says, the both of we dying together. You know, if you try to close one eye, the both of we dying together, and he died together. So that's the real story of what has happened there. And he paid for the extra 15 minutes, nothing happened. And the woman rightfully said, well, brother, that's not my problem, you know. That is because, think about it. You can't carry back all them punching and thing and get back your money. You can't go back in the pharmacy and you can't get back money for your protection. I hope you use protection because them can't be making no ugly babies. You can't get back your money from the guest house. Nobody ain't getting you back your money in the equation. Why the woman must give you back your money for your shortcomings or your soft comments? Or your first comments. You ain't getting back a cent. So this man went berserk and listen, the story sad like hell and unfortunate in the end, and I praying that, I mean, at least if you look at that bright side, at least the man didn't try to hijack or you know what I mean? He was trying to pay for it, but it work out. Now I had to play a song. I have a song for you. I tell you, okay, a kitchen, you know. This is for my boy. Well, for my boy and my girl, as I say, all joking, but I wish her a speedy recovery, but the whole situation reminds me of why, because the reality is this, right? All this happened because it's a pay first system. Once it's a pay first system, and this is all the reasons why everybody is collecting money first, because things go wrong and then man is want to get ignorant. So imagine if you ain't get your money and you do it like Maria's, where you offer up your services, or Maxi, you know what I mean? You got your fare. You gave you a ride, or you gave you a ride before you get the fare. You know, you can pay a Maxi when you're coming out. Not this kind of ride, Papa. Pay first. Give me the money up front because of situations like this. Because we're not responsible for no kind of malfunction in nobody's system. And Kitchen have a song that explains it the best. Take this in for me.
A bounce up Grenadian made last week Saturday. A bounce up Grenadian made last week Saturday.
Hey, what you do?
Well, I try a trick on she to get she in me bachi. Can't catch myself yet. What she didn't tell me is what she forget. Who must be think Grenadian a fool? Who must be think we not go to school? Who must be think because we come here we starving in Grenada today? I gonna tell you Trinidadian, among you careful we Grenadian. Back at ground, money a hand if you fancy this Grenadian.
Yes? Sing!
She start getting hot
And start up proper like a parrot. You Trinidad men, you like women but don't like to spend.
Well, I'm going to make it clear
I don't get in who I am.
So I hope you know
I ain't got time if you got no dough. Who know my be think Grenadian a fool? Who know my be think we not go to school? Who know my be think because we come here we starving in Grenada today? You damn lie.
I gonna tell you Trinidadian, the days for the gun with Grenadian.
Back at ground, money a hand if you fancy this Grenadian.
Well, I start to plead to see what effect he's gonna take on she. I said, darling, this is true.
I am madly in love with you. She put she hand akimbo and watch me from head to toe. Man, you're talking crap. You can't spend love in the Chinese shop. Who know what be think Grenadian a fool? Who know what be think we not go to school? Who know what be think because we come here we starving in Grenada today?
You damn lie.
I go tell you Trinidadian.
Among you careful we Grenadian.
Back at ground, money a hand if you fancy this Grenadian. Yes?
So I promise she, I gonna give she half of my salary.
Promise?
It ain't long to wait.
I get paid on the 28th.
She said by the time the grass growing, you don't know the horse starving. It's in a good day, give me a ring
When you get your pay.
Uno must be think Grenadian a fool.
Uno must be think we not go to school.
Uno must be think because we come here
We starving in Grenada today.
You damn lie, I gonna tell you Trinidadian. Among you careful we Grenadian.
Back at ground, money a hand if you fancy this Grenadian. All seriousness, he deserved to make a jail. They need to lose him and they need the jail for that heinous act that he do with this woman. Now, we done on the jail topic, right? So let me talk about some more jailers. Let me talk about it's cure again. He come to give you more again. You'll never find no one in this lifetime to make you like I do. So never mind. Jackie, go on Amsterdam and stab people. Apparently stabbed the promoter. Somebody, I can't remember if it's on Twitter or which part I heard this, but somebody there, they were saying, Jack, your energy always off. And I want to agree. Something about Jack, I mean, Jack, at time he come to do a Randy Glasgow concert. And I was with my partner, Umma, at the time. Well, Umma is bringing a lot of them Jamaican artists. So I end up backstage with Jackie and Umma and them Lyman somehow. And Jackie, your vibes and energy is sour and it off. Something ain't right, you know what I mean? And he didn't seem too interested in doing that show. Of course, when he go on a show like that, I think the show would have been like ladies first, if I'm not mistaken, in the stadium them times. Where Randy Glasgow, I think it was ladies first. But when he hit these stages, it's destruction. Women glad, I mean, he could sing for real in real life. It's no singer who had a lip sync when he go on a stage and that kind of thing. But something about being around him not right. And boy, from going to a rape charge back in the day when he was locked up, and you know the thing about it is you could sing while you're in jail in Jamaica. They could bring, because I see Cartel putting out hits. Cartel is still the baddest man in dancehall, even behind bars. And at first they say Cartel was sending voice notes. And the voice note, the producer changing. Well, let me tell you something. What Cartel doing now in a voice note, the newer songs that Cartel had done last year or year before, them thinking of voice note again, some kind of studio activity happening in there, and Jackie definitely had studio quality recording while he was in Jamaica, but I don't think that will be the case in I don't think that will be the case in Amsterdam at all. I think he's gonna serve, what is it, 6 years or something like that? He's gonna stab a promoter. And you remember there was a video going around at the time with Jackie, I want to say it's in Bahamas if I remember right. Jackie going Bahamas and fighting. And boy, a man knock out Jackie. You know, Jackie say he didn't knock out. He said when the man hit him, he said, I wasn't knocked out. I just lie down and reassess my life. I say, why did I put myself in this Jamaica, in this situation, Jackie? Or why am I in this situation? I just lay down there and I reflect. I never get knocked out. And like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with Jackie. Like, he has some serious issues in this life. He had also, I said the videos was going around where I think he was trying to like sell a bunch of Louboutins to people and telling a promoter like send the money, just make a deposit, any amount you send and that kind of thing. So me, you know, if you're having money worries or what is the situation, and you never know what happened to it, because I want to make it sound like nothing can go wrong in Amsterdam, but I don't think the way to settle your issues is to stab people and so on. You know what I mean? And then the next jailer is your boy Juicy Smollett. Juicy Smollett. Couple weeks ago get sentenced to 5 months in prison. That man, ugly man, and Jackie deserve all the time they get, because you're gonna see this stabbing of people and them kind of thing. That is not to be encouraged or condoned in no way. As much as a man don't believe in jails, I don't like the idea of getting people locked up. What I don't like more than that is violence against people. Like you had to stab the woman because you imagine. You pay to stab a woman, you couldn't stab the woman, then you stab the woman because you think the woman do she best. I tell you, she play with it, play with it. She see her life. And you say, now, when you get a little sign of life, you have to attack, you have to dive in. From the time you get a little sign of life, you have to pack it quick and trick, and then it's the same failure again, and you play with it. The woman do all that for you. You stab the woman, you deserve to be in jail, just like Jackie. But Justice Smollett, I don't know how they feel about this, if Justice Smollett should be locked up or not. But you clearly waste the police time. Your Nigerian brethren and them who you claim was the people who racially abuse you and homophobia and so on. They come out and they say, just you pay them, they work out their own thing. And you know, what let me tell you what bothered me about Justice Smollett the most. Justice Smollett went and wrap a noose around his neck with bleach and everything. When the police come and find him, I think they say it's either when the police come and find him or he went in the police station, he still had a noose around his neck. You know what a noose means to black people? You know how much black people get unfairly incarcerated and get unfairly put to death by that same noose? And people who was, if you go back even further, people who get lynched with that same noose, or if you go back even further, people who was in slavery and they just get rid of you using that same noose. Remember? They never seen in 12 Years a Slave that I'll never forget, where they tied the noose with the fella just be able to touch the ground. So all he could do there is hang there and struggle for the whole day. He ain't dead, but it's like torture for a whole day. That noose is such a, boy, listen, no black person shouldn't play with that as no symbol of nothing where we concerned as people. And to show you how much he willing to play with them things, the man come out like Jesse with a big fist up in the air, walking out. They think to talk about you're not suicidal and you like use black power according to he's the gay Tupac. And they think that finding hard to understand. Like this man family defending him down to the last. This man family genuinely believe that he's not doing anything wrong and he's not that type of person and he being unjustly. I trying to think of like no matter how much evidence, that's the kind of family I want to know. I want my family. Especially ones who telling me about podcasts supposed to be on a Tuesday. I need my family to be so delusional that whenever this podcast comes, they're trying to convince everybody that it's Tuesday morning right now. They say, oh, no, I listen to Corey now, it's Tuesday morning. Because this man family buying into whatever it is he's selling. So I wish him the best. They let him out of jail eventually, right? If you're following this story. And I'm kind of happy about that because while he wastes police time and he should probably be fined or made to do some kind of public probation, where it's called that thing when they pick up rubbish on the highway and that kind of thing, maybe that's the kind of thing they should have given him to do rather than trying to incarcerate him and think we need no more black people in jail for these kind of things. But I find it hard to have too much of sympathy for these people. It's just Sometimes they seeking attention and not really seeking sympathy. So, salute to them. Yes, all they make, all they jail, all they come out, whatever all they do. What we doing? We canceling Jackie on thing, or we still listening to this? I just suppose Jackie music ain't going nowhere. Caribbean people don't cancel nobody. And Jussie Smollett, I don't know what go become of his career in acting and thing, but it's hard for me to have sympathy for these guys. One person who having a lot of sympathy for and our prayers. We had to stay strong and band together and pray, because I hear a story this week about the good old Blacks coming down with COVID, boy. Listen, Blacks is a man clearly dealing with medical issues. He had it. We talked about it here before, where he was talking about him being in hospital for a long time and COVID. Him being in hospital for a long time and Bungie and Fair showing up to help him and financially and otherwise. Marshall helping him financially and otherwise. And then we saw him when we had the Taster Carnival the other day come out and do some performances. Blacks is clearly not the Blacks we know. Now, Blacks was, in terms of his performing, it's not the most, and I try to remember in the early days in Roy Cape, he wasn't no run up and down stage man, and he used to get a little wine, sometimes he get a little bareback vibes and them kind of thing. But he was no run up and down and no high energy performer. But certainly what we see now with Black's performances, he ain't fully recovered yet from the medical issues that he having. The voice is still the voice. That's one of the things impressive about the artist. The voice is linger, boy, and strong still and everything, but pushing through his performances is a task. And I saw him on Ojo, getting through the whole performance and going through what would be, when you think of it, right? We from the time I started FET, which would be late 90s, early in the 2000s, Blacks was on stage performing. Blacks built up himself a nice little catalog of music, Blacks not to be underestimated at all, because Blacks catalog could match a lot of people. So while when you talk about the greats in soca, in this era here, we will quickly go to the Marshall and Destra, and I talk about Patrice all the time, and Bungie and Fair, and of course, Blacks right there with them, as a might be an older statement to some of them in that equation, but it's hit after hit on years and catalog, groovy, pacey soca, Kaiso kind of feel, old school feel, new school feel. Blacks is one of the best one, boy. So we had to say our prayers and make sure that we cover Blacks, boy, because he was done. He ain't looking himself, and with this COVID thing, Blacks in the hospital now. And hear the kind of quality of music he put this year self now.
Oh gosh. Man, your belly.
Yes?
I'm just a stranger in a crowded place. Me and me cooler
And we did.
hoping to find someone with a familiar face, so we could fit and celebrate. This is not the time to be alone. This is the time to wind on a bumper. So let's be amazing, be fire blazing. With no care in the world, let me get on bad in here. I want you to charm on somebody now, hold on somebody now, keep them company. I want you to charm on somebody now, hold on somebody now, make them your family. Together let me mash up the place and done. Let me walk up,
Race and done now.
together let me mash up the place and done. Let me walk up, the ways and done. Drunk or sober, I out from a culture, set up panorama again. On the road with you, man, jumping
Yes?
up to the soca. Must find a partner to play bass with me. This is not the time to be alone. This is the time to wind on a bumper. So let's be amazing, keep the fire blazing. With no care in the world, let me get on bad in here. I want you to
Jam on somebody now.
hold on somebody now, keep them company. I want you to
Jam on somebody now.
hold on
Somebody know.
make them your family.
Yes, listen, when you listen to that Blacks, they're feeling like if you want to be in a little cooler fit in real life, The doc said the place open, so who knows, we could be out there, but I want to play this one just to send a little strength. Blacks, I said in this one for you, using your own song to get back your own strength, because you tell me this, and you give me this song to get me through the hardest of times. and I tell we, listen, this is how you have to see yourself.
Yeah.
All the lyrics apply to him now.
Never let your problems get you down.
Yes. Stay focused.
And hold your ground. Because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources. And all know them still can't kill me now. You see, as them sink me under ice flow, ride out the storm, them just like a boat. So as the box me down, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up. And every crack I see, I just see through. And by the help of God, I just get through. I just won't stop. I feel like Hulk. Move any mountain, I trample any building like Hulk. Man better than monster. Dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Rip up my shot and bust up my jeans and step on my problems. Then what we gonna do? Trample them, trample them, trample them. Kick out them, kick out my problems, kick out my problems. Trials and testings does come before blessings, but we have to be patient, yeah. Weeping and mourning in the night, but joy in the morning. But we just have to endure. You see, God, the way no night come, so you don't really need to lie down. Them say what goes around comes right back around. I go wait until my time come. So from sun up straight to sunset, you could catch I bust in a sweat.
Yes.
I must time out. I feel like Hulk.
Move any mountain, dismantle any building like Hulk. Ah! Man better than monster. Dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them. So hey, blessed wishes to blacks, whatever you just do. I don't know if you just pray, you just meditate, whatever you do. Now is the time to do it for the legend blacks. This is 61 years old and he battling inside with the COVID. Now they don't know how it go. Everybody don't know somebody who lose somebody. And the last time I play Mass with Humor, I see blacks on the road. And just being around Roy Cape and well the All Stars and blacks and the vibe of having a band on the road was just a nice thing. That's all Humor is my band for life. But the vibe of just being on the road with a band, means see that in so many years. We hope to have that again when the carnival open back. Hopefully they have this August carnival, but even if it's next year, we were blacks around for that for sure. So press up, whatever you do, make sure you do it with blacks in mind, right? If you light your candle, whatever you do, be like Hulk for the old blacks. Now, I talk about Jussie Smollett and Jackie in the jail, right? And Trinidad have a way, no matter what happened internationally, we just try to align ourselves with that news. So if it had people making jail over there, we break